How's it going, friends? Another day, another market update, more and more data on our charts. So in today's video, I'm going to show you all my expectations, my educational guess on the Bitcoin, what I'm expecting from the Bitcoin in the upcoming days or weeks. I'm going to show you my educational guess on Ethereum, what I'm expecting from Ethereum, and I'm going to show you my trading plan on Solana. This is going to be just an example because the Solana printing exactly the same market structure as the majority of those altcoins. So as you already know, I was a little bit confused when the Bitcoin is sitting at those all-time highs and we getting rejected, and there's like a strong probability to still see that $97,000 that sits at approximately here at the bottom at this potential descending channel that is forming actually quite nice right now because we printed another lower high. Lower low, lower low, lower high, and we're getting rejected every single time we retesting this descending resistance. So I was a little bit confused when we were sitting at those all-time highs, and there's once again strong probability to see even the lower price on the Bitcoin, where that could lead all of those altcoins. Are we going to see even the lower price on those altcoins? Because altcoins right now are sitting at the, let's just see, absolutely lows. But after analyzing like every single possible altcoin, a lot of them are printing a nice and juicy bullish market structure. So how is that gonna correlate with the Bitcoin? And there's still some bullishness. I'm seeing a lot of bullish data on the Bitcoin charts, and this is gonna be my educational guess. Once again, nothing here is financial advice. All of those setups could fail, but still, the data is right here in front of us. We cannot ignore it. And I'm going to show you all of my expectations on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and majority of those altcoins. Solana is going to illustrate perfectly majority of those altcoins because once again, printing exactly the same market structure. So in this video, I'm going to analyze Bitcoin based on this descending channels model. We're going to compare the previous descending channel that after a breakout, we saw the rally to the all-time highs from the 2024 summer. And we're going to see a lot of, because I see a lot of similarities, to be honest. So this is my educational guess on the Bitcoin. Yes, once again, $97,000 are still on the table. Like it or not, because every single time we reaching those levels, we're bouncing back up and we're getting rejected from those highs. But technically, when we found a first touch point, let's just rewind the clock a little bit. When we found a first touch point, we see a bounce, a nice rally to the upside. Yes, we got rejected. Took out that liquidity from the new all-time highs, drawdown. Then, after we found a second touch point, we see even a stronger bounce, rally to the upside. And right now, on the third one, I can see even a stronger bounce that, look at this one. We printed an extremely bullish candle that perfectly aligns with the mid-range of this descending channel. You can call it like imbalance candle, fair value gap, it doesn't matter, but there's like a lot of demand that sits at approximately this mid-range. So my educational guess and my gut is telling, what if those altcoins are printing, and they're not lying to us, they're printing that bullish market structure, that after a breakout, we're gonna see a rally to the upside, that promise altcoin season, and right now, Bitcoin is gonna, let's just say, gonna get itself into some kind of consolidation mode, because I'm seeing clearly right now that every single time we retest, so this is just like for a scenario, every single time we reach 106 point something, 0.2, 0.3 thousand dollars, we're getting bounced back up, and we're on the 4-hour time frame, we are inside this range between 106 and 108, $9,000 approximately, those levels. And Bitcoin is right now consolidating. And if you're gonna go across the meme coins, the altcoin market, some of those meme coins and altcoins already started to bounce back up. But if we're gonna get retested one more time, we're gonna retest, we're gonna see some kind of pullback on those altcoins that already took off, and the Bitcoin is gonna lead us, gonna start dragging those prices even lower, and for those who just ripped to the upside, gonna see a retest. I'm seeing, this is my educational guess, maybe we won't gonna see $97,000 on a Bitcoin. Maybe we're gonna retest. There's a very strong probability right now to retest this mid-range. Of course, sorry, I'm just gonna redraw it one more time at approximately, let's just see here, in the mid-range. If I'm gonna use the simple Fibonacci levels, it doesn't matter from these previous lows to those highs. Yes, the golden ratio sits at approximately this mid-range. So, and if we're going to see a strong bounce, this is where we need to pay attention. If we're going to see a strong bounce from this mid-range, from this golden zone, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, but the data is right here. And if we're going to start bouncing back up, what is it going to tell us? That we are printing a higher low. That is right now has a very strong probability that we're seeing right now that we're shifting from a bearish into the bullish one. And if we're going to see that bounce, if we're going to start retesting, let's just say the top of this channel, then of course Bitcoin will have a lot of work to do because we have a lot of supply here, a lot of resistance. Bitcoin has to break it to the upside. I mean, there's a very strong probability to see that breakout, maybe some kind of shake off, I don't know, and then to surge, I mean, to see a rally to the upside and start exploring new all-time highs. So this is my bullish scenario, but nonetheless, be very cautious because this descending channel, I drove for a reason, $97,000. This is where all of the data, I mean, all of the demand, all of the supports sits here. So, but my bullish scenario, because I'm trying to see a correlation between all of those altcoins and the Bitcoin, I'm seeing that there's a strong chance for us to see a retest at this imbalance. Once again, perfectly illustrates, perfectly aligns with this mid-range, and we can start seeing the bounce from here. And that would lead a pullback in total from the absolutely top, or let's just grab here, negative approximately 10%, maybe even lower, but still, we're gonna climb back up inside the mid-range, gonna close it above it, and then the rally to the upside. So keep an eye on approximately $103,000. This is not some kind of call out. I'm gonna wait and see how the price is gonna react when we're gonna reach those levels, or maybe we won't. Maybe we're gonna consolidate it here and just start shredding to the upside because those altcoins are not lying to us, and the money in the crypto market is there, and we can start seeing that insane promise bull rally on those altcoins, and maybe even the Bitcoin has a chance right now to reach even new all-time highs. All right, so I'm gonna compare this type of market shape with the previous one during the summer 2024, and look at this descending channel. This descending channel, let me just take my highlighter. Without looking at this shake off or the swig that illustrates here perfectly some kind of market manipulation, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Of course, this is a little bit more, let's just say, extended version because it didn't happen only during the summer. It happened back in March, April, and autumn, October, September. So this is a little bit more extended version, but this data perfectly illustrates how everything works. After we found our last low, rally to the upside, we created a higher low. Change the whole structure from a bearish into the bullish, and that is why I'm expecting from the Bitcoin to do similar type of movement, because yes, we forming a similar pattern. And this pattern could lead us into another rally to the new all-time high territories. Of course, this is a little bit more, let's just say, smaller one. This is a bigger one, the big boy with the small boy. So we'll see how everything is going to play out. But still, once again, keep an eye on 103 point something thousand dollars on the Bitcoin, because this imbalance shows that there's like a lot of buying power that sits at approximately this mid-range. And yes, this is a perfect illustration, perfect example what I'm looking right now, So I'm expecting to form that higher low that could identify and could, let's just say, signal me that we're definitely shifting from a bearish into the bullish market structure, because there's a strong probability that the price is going to keep in that bullish momentum and start rallying to the upside. So keep an eye on those. And of course, let's just jump straight on Ethereum. If we're going to see that pullback as we saw on Bitcoin, so let's just see what type of correlation we have. As you already know, I showed you like numerous times that we printed this beautiful and respectful ascending trend line that perfectly illustrates our support. So if the Bitcoin is going to start, I don't know, experience that drawdown by another 5%, Ethereum is going to fall as well. And then we need to pay attention at approximately 2,200. And I want to see some kind of bounce. because we right now inside this range where the price was respected the most. And we see also that impulsive movement that illustrates that majority of the demand and of course that bullish momentum that keeps printing higher lows is here. So I want to see how the price is going to react if we're going to reach those levels, because right now if you're going to ask me, if you're going to take a buy long position right now on Ethereum, no. I want to see some kind of pullback and to have like my more precise and more accurate levels where I can start entering, where I can set up my stop losses, and then a rally to the upside after rebouncing back up here. I'm not gonna, what I wanted to say, that I'm not willing to take a buy long position from here. I want to wait for some kind of retest. And if this retest is gonna happen, I mean, if we're gonna see that bounce, I'm expecting a rally once again back in $2,800 per one coin. Majority of the supply, a lot of resistance is sits at approximately here, and our job is to break it, to pierce through this, to change the whole structure into the bullish, way more bullish completely, and then to keep inside this bullish momentum. Maybe another retest here and a rally to $4,000. I'm gonna call $4,000 the all-time highs, despite like 4.8K, because $4,000 is that stupid psychological level on Ethereum that we cannot freaking break it. So let's just call $4,000 all-time highs, and the rally to those all-time highs where the sell power is just there. And this is my educational guess what I'm expecting from Ethereum. And of course, Ethereum, according to those equal highs and keep printing higher lows, we're printing this insanely explosive pattern that once again could lead the price to surge, let's just say, insanely shredding to even a higher price than $4,000. Maybe we're gonna see that rally to $5,000 at least. So no expectations, just analyzing the data, because yes, we expect it from Ethereum a lot. Right now, what is left for us is just to analyze the data and to see all the probabilities. Like, no, I don't have a crystal ball, so take it or leave it. All right, let's jump straight into Solana. So once again, this is my educational guess and my expectations on Ethereum, on Bitcoin, and let's jump straight into Solana that shows a perfect example what type of market structure we are forming on the majority of those altcoins. Majority of those altcoins are printing exactly the same thing. They're bouncing from their lows, and of course, Solana is actually not at its lows, but it's perfectly illustrates and printing a similar market structure, a similar pattern as on those altcoins. So what do I see? I see that there's like a lot of resistance, a perfect resistance key level that sits at approximately $180 per one coin. And what I like about Solana, because Solana has like perfect, those round numbers. Look at this key level, 108, like perfect. What is it sits at approximately, this demand, this all support sits at approximately 140. So I like that Solana has those round numbers, but it's not important. And Solana still printing higher lows at here, equal highs, and I'm expecting some kind of pullback because we break through this descending trend, a rally to the upside. What do we know about Solana? Every single time we're inside this descending trend, a lot of people are panicking, but I'm seeing every single time an opportunity, because when those descending trends, or falling wedge patterns, it doesn't matter. Every single time we break through that descending trend, we can see a nice and juicy rally to the upside. All right. We saw an ascending trend, printing higher lows after a breakdown, drawdown. Right now, we are inside this small descending trend that after a breakout, and we already see it, this breakout, we're changing the whole structure from a bearish into the bullish. Another retest is also a possible scenario. And maybe we can start bouncing up from here, because we have this impulsive nipple and this one that illustrates perfectly our demand, our potential support that sits at approximately what is like 135, 140, approximately those levels, because this is where the price was respected the most. And the majority of those altcoins are printing exactly the same thing. And if I'm going to connect all of those dots at the bottom, once again, we're printing this ascending bullish explosive pattern that could send the price after some kind of consolidation, squeezing inside this pattern. Boom, rally to the upside into $250 per one coin. So this is my educational guess. Once again, those type of patterns and those type of market structure, it could fail. We saw numerous times right now during this uncertainty that a lot of bullish market structure that oh my god, we see that there's a probability to see a bounce. No bounce, just another drawdown into new lows on those majority of those altcoins. Just, I'm not talking here about Solana, I'm talking about majority of those altcoins. Your favorite altcoin that you're probably invested in, just like praying right now that crypto gods could send the price to the absolute moon and you're gonna be filthy rich, no more work, no more that BS, and just, yeah, enjoying your life, drinking pina coladas at the beach, which is not important right now. We need to analyze the data and we need to see all of the probabilities, and like, no one has a crystal ball, but the market structure, the data is right here. We cannot ignore it. There's a very strong probability to see the price that bouncing on the majority of those altcoins. I'm going to show the last one, but first let me just get back on Ethereum. All I wanted to show you is that basically we are squeezing as well the more confirmation we have. If I'm going to connect all of those tops, this is what I forgot to tell you. We're squeezing in some kind of not that perfect, but we illustrate a perfect descending trend that needs to be broken. And if all the connections at approximately, I see 2.3k, and we're going to start bouncing back up from here, if we're going to break through this descending trend, I'm not the rally to the upside. There's going to be even a stronger probability by looking at all of those different indicators, you know? So keep an eye on this type of market structure. I'm paying attention, so the choice is yours. So let's jump into the last one. The coin that I gave a call out. This one is also perfectly illustrates that we're printing higher lows, equal highs at the majority of those altcoins. Yes, we took a shot, and that was just like a simple call out from a whale room, but it does matter at 0.0013816. And after actually we saw the bounce at approximately 80%, which is absolutely crazy. This is mine with no leverage, so yeah, take it or leave it. If you want, you can go trade on Maxi with leverage. That's absolutely reckless if you want to get liquidated, but whatever. And actually, despite that the market structure is extremely choppy, but I saw that, yes, every single time the money flow is rising up, and right now I'm seeing even a, let's just say, some kind of potential divergence without that nice and strong correlation between the price and all of those waves at the bottom. But there's also a strong probability on those majority of those altcoins that is at absolutely bottom, as this one. This is just one of the examples from my, let's just say, from my community. And if the price even gonna decide to retest that top key level that perfectly illustrates resistance, 0.0075239, absolutely insane number, but that could lead us into 500% in profits. Of course, my game plan on those altcoins are to take from 100 and 200% pumps, and that is it. I'm walking away, but of course, I'm closing my positions manually without limit orders. So sometimes I can end up being in bigger profits. But this is not my point. My point is that we can start seeing by identifying those demand and all of those support levels at the bottom, we can start taking advantage from those type of market structures to see even a small bounce, with the leverage, with no leverage. Of course, it depends on how much money do you have by trading all of those altcoins. But to take that, by looking at this market structure, to take a chance and to get that 100% and 200% rally, if you're seeing on the bigger picture, it is not that hard. All right. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just putting my money where my mouth is. And yes, this is my educational guess on the majority of those altcoins because they're printing exactly the same thing, exactly similar market structures as Solana, Ethereum. Of course, Ethereum and the Solana are big boys, but if you're going on those meme coins, they're printing exactly the same market structure. So I'm gonna try to take an advantage on this one. So yeah, take it or leave it. And once again, if the Bitcoin is gonna decide to go even lower, yes, I'm expecting on the majority of those altcoins that already ripped to the upside, I'm expecting some kind of pullback. And I'm trying to identify on those other altcoins that are still sitting at their lowest points, still trying to identify even those premium zones that absolutely bottoms could be, that could lead even into a higher low when we can start bouncing back up, if you know what I'm saying. And yeah, by looking, for example, only on the Bitcoin, if I'm going to look on those 50 and 200-day moving average, 50-day moving average is perfectly, let's just see, not that perfect, but it still aligns perfectly with this mid-range and the golden ratio. That's it. Once again, I'm going to show you. And if I'm going to take this absolutely low with all of that, with this wick, so yeah, maybe 102, 103, keep an eye on this specific level, and 200-day moving average is perfectly aligned with the last one, with the last demand, with the last support, where the majority of the support and the demand, let's just call it a buying power, that sits at approximately $97,000. So this is my bullish scenario. Once again, I'm a little bit confused when the Bitcoin is sitting at absolutely highs and the altcoins are printing an extremely bullish market structure, or they're sitting at their absolutely lows. So this is my educational guess. Do your homework, try to hunt for the similar market structure on the majority of those altcoins. And yeah, that was a little bit longer one, but yeah, this is my educational guess, quick market update, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace out.